Oh, wow, that's astounding. Absolutely elite form, and he sticks the landing as well. Please excuse me, sir, I'm hella injured. I think my knee's fallen out. Oh, yeah, looks serious, that. But his knee's fallen out, and it stuck the landing. Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and you are watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst what football has to offer during the last 7 days. Let's once again get this episode to 6,000 likes. You guys have been smashing it recently, and you'll unlock my next video then. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, it's been Valentine's Day, you saucy minxes. The Premier League posted some custom Valentine's cards to commemorate the occasion, suggesting that loving you is Eze. But like Eze, most of our Valentines don't seem to exist at the moment. It's a wholesome time of the year for those coupled up. Roses, dinner dates, ads for a Super Bunny Megalodon 3000 on Deliveroo. But this time's more of an issue for someone like Kyle Walker, dishing out more cards on Valentine's than Michael Oliver. Look, listen, I can explain. Meanwhile, after my Valentine's Day, I was looking at the bill, realising I did not have the facilities.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all?
Nothing.
On to the football though now, and boy has it been explosive. No, but genuinely, I actually like you all equally. And we start off in the Black Country. No, that's not what Gianluca Prestianni calls Brazil. We'll get back to him later. We head to the West Midlands, a sentence that no man has ever wanted to say.
I live in a shithole!
Where only 2 Premier League teams have actually played this week, and Arsenal somehow managed to come out of it third best. The Gunners could have gone 7 points clear with a win versus already EFL-approved Wolves. The issue is they like the number 2 so much, they elected to give Man City a chance to narrow the gap to that instead.
It's happened again.
Arsenal threw away a 2-goal lead against bottom of the table after a 94th minute equaliser. Wolves made history here. This is the first time a team placed 20th in the league has ever come back from 2 goals down against first to draw. And it now means 2 wins in 7 for Mikel Arteta's depressed Reds. February saw people looking to get lucky on Valentine's Day, but it was the Gooners getting pumped by Wolves. Noni Madueke, I'm sure, had that sinking feeling when he arrived back in Wolverhampton, realising it was still a shithole. And going into the game, there was actually some good news for Arsenal. Bukayo Saka had signed a new 5-year deal at the club. It's not been his greatest season, to be honest with you. He's been bad in terms of his output, but in a more central role here, he was able to give Arsenal the lead and end his own goal-scoring drought. Wolves were their usual calamitous selves in the first half, and when Nkapie doubled the Gunners' leads at the start of the second half, Arsenal looked like they were out of sight. But that's where Mikel Arteta comes in. We had a bueno connection for Wolves getting back into the game with a lovely curled effort. Their dad Kinder is absolutely delighted, and it was defo good for Wolves. Then as David Raya mistook Gabriel's reconstructed hairline for the ball, Edozie was able to rescue a point with the help of Calafiori in the post. Gabriel smacked the ground in frustration even though it was his fault. This one officially going down as an OG. A former hero in Owen goal has officially turned on them.
You are a Judas!
Streamers Stable Ronaldo and Marlon were undercover as Arsenal agents in the crowd. And that looked like a good idea until the end of the match, and Wolves fans were giving them stick. Fucking hell, sacked by Tottenham, and now Arsenal have lost. It's been a rough week for Thomas Frank this.
No, that's not right. That's a really bad one.
Gabriel Martinelli had been trying to rile up Wolves supporters by showing 2-1 with his hand to the crowd just to concede. He was looking pretty sheepish when he met some of the old Gold supporters in the car park afterwards. The hilarious thing about all of this, right, is this literally means nothing whatsoever to Wolves. They are gone. They're out of here. They've already packed up their bags, and they were still able to give it large to Arsenal here. Another man giving it large was Ty from Arsenal Fan TV, threatening to scrap Wolves supporters, while AFTV generally was struggling to put together the reasons as to why they lost here.
I looked at the weather report. There was wind gusts up to 36 miles an hour.
Yeah, I've got a weather report for you, lads. It's fucked me.
It's raining for both teams!
The fact of the matter is, Arsenal had 1 shot on target in the second half of this game. They weren't positive enough. And look, you're 2-0 up, I get that. You don't have to be crazily positive. Just strangulate the game and come out with a 2-0 win. It's fine. But creating that little against the side like Wolves, look, I don't even mean to be that harsh on Wolves yet. They've been so much better recently, but they are still wank. Yeah, they are the worst team in the league. If you can't put together more than 1 shot on target against them in a half of football, then serious questions need to be asked. Gabriel Jesus was asking some serious questions of gravity when he shoved the Wolves player to the ground, finally getting some revenge for that cheeky Mosquera finger. All I'm saying is, North London derby next. If Igor Tudor wins in his first game, they're giving him a statue outside. Now though, on to Champions League action. This week saw the start of the, don't know what to call this bit because not everyone's playing in it, but it's a knockout, I guess, round. The Kings of the Champions League, Real Madrid, have been through more knockouts than Jake Paul in this competition, and the script writers were going mad when pairing Jose Mourinho's Benfica against his former side once more. Benfica's goalkeeper was getting is practicing for the rematch, not realising his goal in the group stages was a fluke.
Come on, you foot slide! Oh, you fucking...
So Real Madrid would be travelling from Spain to spicy Spain, where a dull game would spark into life with a piece of brilliance from Vini Junior.
Vinicius Junior! Oh, that is magnificent!
He gave Real Madrid the lead before dancing at the corner flag. Now this angered Benfica supporters as well as a couple of Benfica's players, and Vini was shown a yellow card for his troubles. Now I've done the research here, I have looked at all the angles, and this is utter woke nonsense if this is classed as provocative. We've got so many examples of players celebrating after scoring and dancing in the course of history, and they've never received a yellow card. Jesse Lingard would literally be behind bars if he played in Portugal. What happened next would be even more outrageous, because the game was then stopped for over 10 minutes after Vini Junior himself ran over to the referee and alleged to the official that he'd received racial abuse from 20-year-old Benfica forward Gianluca Prestianni. Now, allegedly in this situation, Prestianni said mono, which is Spanish for monkey, whereas in repeating after, I think Prestianni was attempting to say that he'd said hermano instead, whilst lifting his shirt to ensure that nobody saw what he actually said. Either way, this led to Vini Junior and the rest of Real Madrid's squad walking off. The game would get resumed, Real Madrid would win, but it was overshadowed massively. I thought some of the worst quotes came from commentary and Mark Clattenburg, who in essence blamed Vini Junior. Meanwhile, Jose Mourinho said that Benfica couldn't possibly be racist because Eusebio is a legend there, and suggested that Vini Junior shouldn't have celebrated like that. The thing is, there's simply nothing wrong with this celebration, in my opinion. As I said in the video that you can check out here, there are other reasons not to like Vini Junior. First of all, they don't mean that you can go and racially abuse somebody, but this dance, come on, man. Jose Mourinho celebrated far worse. This is the average Mourinho celebration after scoring a second goal versus Charlton in the FA Cup. Wayne Rooney questioned why he shouldn't be able to dance, why he would get a yellow card for that. To be honest, regardless of what Prestianni said in this situation, Kylian Mbappe seemed to think he'd said the same as well. I can't believe Jose Mourinho left him on. Camavinga and Tchouameni were getting ready to commit acts of GBH 5 minutes later.
Lincoln pooped you!
As I mentioned, Kylian Mbappe was not happy. He said he wouldn't address Prestianni by name, saying that number 25 shouldn't play in the Champions League again. Fede Valverde suggested that if you need to cover your mouth with your shirt to say something, it's probably not a good thing that you've said. Meanwhile, Trent Alexander-Arnold went straight to DMing the Argentine on Insta.
Oh, mate, I swear, I'm fucking raging. I swear.
This after Prestianni's been linked with getting an Argentina call-up. His initiation song will be an absolute mad thing. And he had something else locked in the chamber when Kylian Mbappe came over and he realised he could abuse him as well.
Fucking baguette-eating dickhead frog.
Look, I'm joking, by the way. I just want everybody to know that, you know me. We aren't 100% sure on what he said at the end of the day because we don't have the camera footage because he put his shirt over his mouth. I do think that's somewhat telling under the circumstances. And I think the lies from himself and also from Benfica's Twitter aren't a very good look for either of them at the very least. It did as well lead to ugly scenes in the stands from Benfica supporters throwing monkey gestures at Vini. Prestianni suggesting that he thinks there's been a misunderstanding. Well, there wouldn't have been a misunderstanding if you didn't cover your mouth when you said something. Overall, look, I definitely think, you know, ultimately that Prestianni must have said something that he didn't want people to know, at the very least. If both Vini and Mbappe have heard the same thing, then that is obviously pretty telling. But the crucial thing for me is that just because I've seen a lot of people suggesting that Vini Junior brings it upon himself, or that, you know, for some reason he deserves what happens to him. At the end of the day, whether you like a footballer or not, it doesn't have to lead to abuse. It should never resort to racism or prejudice of any kind. Players can have banter with each other without racism. Just look at Otamendi with Vini Junior pointing to his World Cup tattoo. Elsewhere, though, in the Champions League, Juventus decided to speedrun causing generational sadness by conceding 5 to Galatasaray. Now I understand what the points of Kenan Yıldız's gloves actually mean. They're the 5-goal. Former Galatasaray midfielder Felipe Melo was keen to remind Juventus fans of the scoreline here as well, but there was other kind of hand signs going on from Galatasaray fans in the crowd. I don't know what that even means, to be honest with you, but not everybody was satisfied. Victor Osimhen was still fuming despite a 3-goal lead here. Meanwhile, for Juventus, and in a game that they probably expected to be the favourites in, they've been put in a very different position now. In an all-French affair, and Paris Saint-Germain came back from 2-0 down to beat Monaco 3-2. Former Arsenal striker Balogun had given Monaco the lead just 53 seconds in, and things looked even worse when Ousmane Dembele was subbed off after 26 minutes. According to Fabrizio Romano, he had an injured Ballon d'Or. This is what his Ballon d'Or looks like right now. Fabrizio, I'm sure, will be attending to that piece of silverware by nabbing it later on. Either way, it would actually be for the greater good as far as PSG were concerned, because Desiree Doué came on in the 27th minute, scored 2 goals, and completely changed the game around. Probably helped by the fact that Wout Faes somehow has a job as a professional footballer for Monaco, something that needs to be investigated by the FBI. And at Newcastle, they swept aside Azerbaijani newcomers Karabag. The XG was off the charts as they led 5-0 at half-time. Karabag's manager had a response for Eddie Howe at half-time here, not gonna lie to you.
Quarter-final of a cup, start really well, allow a goal from a corner, allow another average goal, and a fluke goal.
Newcastle were also in action in the FA Cup. We saw the 4th round played out this week. They got the better of Aston Villa, but it wasn't without VAR heartache. There was at least drama that benefited Newcastle. Marco Bizot seeing red, probably a card on Valentine's Day that he wouldn't have wanted. But some of the other decisions in this game were absolutely appalling. In a game, of course, where there's no VAR right now in the FA Cup, Newcastle's players were lining up outside the VAR room. Eddie Howe, I'm sure, just about to call his players off in protest. Yeah, it was poor, like all round. And Alan Shearer raised a really good point, actually, suggesting that it was probably so bad now because referees are actually terrified and scared to make decisions. That's because they usually have the safety net of VAR in the Premier League. They get used to that, and then when they don't have that same safety net in like the cup competitions, they're suddenly afraid to make big calls. Either way, none of that was getting in the way of Arsenal as they steamrolled Wigan 4-0. They'd scored 4 goals here in 27 minutes. Just stop it, man. They're already dead. And even on the mascot front, Arsenal would come out victorious as Gunnosaurus got the better of Wigan's pie in a penalty shootout. This game also saw Keparita Balaga subbed off for Tommy Setford so that he can make his debut. Let's be honest, he's not got a great track record of getting substituted off. I don't think he was particularly keen to get pulled off for a child. Arsenal have now been drawn against Mansfield Town in the next round. God, I'm so sorry. They're getting a run of Portsmouth, Wigan, and then Mansfield. These lot have played more EFL clubs than teams at the top of the Championship. Man City easily dispatched their opponents too, this time in the form of Salford, winning 2-0. Mark Gahey was literally eliminated from the FA Cup recently and then scored in the very next round. Meanwhile, James Trafford was interviewed at full time and is frustrated at his lack of game time since Gianluigi Donnarumma's arrival.
That tastes like motion!
Gary Neville, I'm sure, was devastated losing to Manchester City again.
A living, breathing, walking example of shite.
And with Man City drawn against Newcastle, Magpie supporters, you've got to play City 5 times this season. I'm so sorry. Liverpool are also into the next round of the FA Cup after defeating Brighton 3-0, leaving this poor seagull in the stands depressed. Is it a bird? Yes, I'm just gassed that I'm avoiding croquet for an entire 7 days, man. At West Ham, they eventually got the better of Burton Albion, but that wasn't stopping one West Ham supporter from protesting in the form of a banner and a plane, and we had good old-fashioned football at Grimsby too. No VAR and a pitch that looks like the front lines of Dunkirk in 1940. Just how the game should be played. At Tottenham, and they've announced that Igor Tudor will be arriving as their manager until the end of the season. He joins on a 5-month contract with no option to extend, and his first 4 matches as manager against Arsenal, Fulham, Palace and Liverpool. Unsurprisingly, he's probably not too pleased about this, even though he claimed to be very happy in this interview. Yeah, he really looks it.
I'm so happy, believe me.
There's a new manager at Nottingham Forest as well. Former Wolves boss Vitor Pereira is their 4th manager of the season. Marinakis, we might have to genuinely contemplate, is he actually getting Forest relegated on purpose? At Brentford, and Michael Coyote has really made a name for himself this season. Generally, because of his footballing ability, he's been amazing for Brentford as a wing-back, but also for his cannon of a long throw. Nicknamed Coyote Lap, he did a gender reveal with his partner this week at Brentford Stadium, and at the G-Tech, he did a gender reveal throw-in. Yeah, we love to see it. Congratulations, man. There were wholesome scenes at West Ham as well, where Jared Bowen made some time for a little girl on her birthday. Meanwhile, it turns out Alexis McAllister cannot say footballing names.
Haaland. Haaland. Mamma mia.
Now, in Spain, and Barcelona are having a bad time. They're coming off the back of a slapping in the Copa del Rey to Atletico Madrid, where professionals were making sandwiches as they were receiving Atletico's meat. Antoine Griezmann at least having a wholesome moment with his nan after the 4-0 victory. It didn't get any better for Barcelona as they were then beaten by Girona late on 2-1 in La Liga. Barcelona tweeting about this one, don't let them score. When are they gonna learn? Well, you need to listen to your own advice, lad. Now, Barca can feel a little bit hard done by a lack of VAR check on this foul from Jules Koundé. I think, to be honest with you, the man was doing up Milan Fashion Week halfway through the game. He's getting cooked by everybody at the moment at right back. His performances have been very much below par. It's looking hella 2020 Barca out there right now. I'm seeing a couple Braithwaites at the moment. The small leagues are firmly calling. The Yamal that turned up in this one as well, not ideal. He missed a penalty in this game, hitting the post. There was also a horrific challenge on Lamine Yamal late on in this game, actually, which resulted in a red card. We hate to see it, genuinely. Come on, guys. Meanwhile, with Barca desperate at the end, Joan Garcia was sent forward in the 99th minute. Bro thinks he's true bit. But either way, this result meant that Barcelona would give up the league lead as Real Madrid beat Real Sociedad 4-1 with the help of Penal de Madrid. Top of the league, ask Barcelona.
Paros desde la frontal del área.
Brother, don't touch his hair. He doesn't like it when the peasants touch his hair. We saw, in fairness, a crazy assist from Trent Alexander-Arnold in this game for striker Gonzalo Garcia, but it wasn't all good for Real Madrid. Federico Valverde deciding to do up WWE tables, ladders and chairs on this fridge. Elsewhere at Atleti, and I spoke about them beating Barca, well, they went from doing that to getting pumped 3-0 by Rayo Vallecano. At Sevilla, they weren't too pleased by their opponent's set-piece technique, saying that they'd done an Arsenal and scored from a corner. Mikel Arteta's around ball is global. Meanwhile, Sevilla's Femení side, well, the goalkeeping on show for this halfway line strike wasn't exactly ideal. In Formula 1 news, and of course testing is going on right now ahead of the new season, Ferrari tweeting meow as Lewis Hamilton went past him, and Getafe have certainly seen that name before. In France now, Paris Saint-Germain were the victims of a surprise defeat to Rennes. 3-1 was the scoreline here in their battle to win Ligue 1, with Bryce Samba putting in a goalkeeping clinic to deny them. Betting companies seeing this one, they've made their money for the week. Meanwhile, Paris Saint-Germain in 2026, they're not quite the same beast as what we expect them to be. At Marseille, and they are going through a little bit of a crisis at the moment, Roberto De Zerbi, of course, left his managerial role, and Mehdi Benatia had left his role as director of football, only to return 2 days later. His entrance into the job centre didn't last very long at all. Monaco are currently going through their will still phase, as their manager Sebastian Pocognoli doesn't have the correct actual badges or high enough badge status to be able to manage in Ligue 1, so they pay a fine of 25,000 euros every time they play, only they're not actually doing very well, so you got to question what the fines are really for. But at least better news somewhere else in France, and that's that Olympique Lyon have now accrued 13 wins in a row. Unbelievable job from their playing staff and the manager as well, given they lost a whole range of players over the summer. Their fans all bald right now with this many wins in a row. In Italy, and there was drama between Inter and Juventus. Inter winning this one thanks to a last-minute strike for Christian Kivu's side, but Pierre Kalulu was controversially sent off for Juventus after this absolutely catastrophic dive. It was a second yellow, which meant that VAR wasn't able to actually look into it. Kalulu couldn't believe his eyes on ref cam. Meanwhile, Bastoni was celebrating in the background. Yeah, they've just cheated their way to this one, man. It led to a scrap, basically, all round at full time between the staff of each side. Juventus don't help themselves, though, because their defense is an absolute travesty when Bremer's not involved. There was more red card drama at Como, where Alvaro Morata managed to pick up 2 yellow cards in 30 seconds, the second one coming for dissent. Disappointing for Como fans. I'm sure they'll live with it, though, given they get to go to games via boat. As Genoa, and for some reason, Ruben Amorim accidentally appeared in their starting 11 as a picture instead of their actual Brazilian player, Alex Amorim. And there was even more red card drama for Chievo Verona and Gift Orban. He was given a straight red card in the opening minutes of his side's eventual loss to Parma after just protesting a decision made by the referee. He seemed pretty calm in the way that he went up to the referee, but was shown a straight red anyway. He took to Twitter to say that black players in Italy are treated differently. And all I'm going to say is this referee, that is a scam. That's one of the worst and most unnecessary red cards I've ever seen a referee give out. In Germany, and I don't do this often in FTW, but I'm just giving a shout out to someone. Serhu Girassi is a lethal striker, innit? The man's got more goal contributions than any other player in the Champions League as of the start of last season, with 17 goals and 7 assists to his name to try and help Dortmund through the playoff phase. Meanwhile, at Stuttgart, and their crocodile mascot was getting involved in the celebrations. Now that it's time for your goals of the week, we got a couple screamers for you. First of all, a goal matched in beauty by its overall surroundings, as in the middle of seemingly a combination of icebergs and mountains, we got a beautiful free kick landing straight in the top corner. Not quite the same sort of surroundings, but a similar goal, just executed even better. Now, Hulk has not exactly scored many tap-ins in his career. A lot of the time, he's pummeling the ball as hard as he can, and that is exactly what we've seen here, still at his age in Brazil. This knuckleball and dipping free kick is ludicrous.
Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes The Beautiful Game.
Now, in the Netherlands, we have the award for the biggest FC26 career mode transfer of all time, as Raheem Sterling has joined Feyenoord. Poor guy's got to learn how to speak Dutch, man. I don't envy him at all. So he's not exactly going into this move with a whole lot of form, and his Feyenoord teammates will be getting straight into his face when he drops a 7th 5.7 rating in a row. I mentioned FC26 a second ago. Well, there's rumours that FC27 is going to have a special free roam mode where players can go round, get barbers, and live their lives actually outside of football. I just hope there's no driving involved, otherwise playing as Marcus Rashford may well be a no-go. I heard you like drinking in Belfast. We gave you 7 separate Jaeger bomb holders. Carlo Ancelotti, meanwhile, has been getting lit in Brazil. His age isn't stopping him from getting backstage at a festival or from getting with 3 gyal at the same time. Unfortunately, this is an AI image, but it does paint a picture, man. In Russia, meanwhile, and John Duran's latest adventure at Zenit St. Petersburg was him causing GBH on his debut. Yeah, he got involved in a scrap with a defender, basically doing a headlock on him as a ball was played in behind. This man's gone from Champions League bangers to playing on a training pitch in Russia. There's a sprinkler in the background, for fuck's sake. What game even is this? Alexander Stankovic, son of the former Inter midfielder Dejan Stankovic, is playing for Club Brugge at the moment. His side won a derby against Cercle Brugge, and his response was to plant a flag of his current club in the centre circle of his sworn enemy's stadium. It's a shithousery award for the youngster. In Brazil, Neymar returned with an assist in a 6-0 win after knee surgery. A pretty impressive feat for a man with 0.75 of an ACL. And another man maybe joining in Brazil is Jesse Lingard, who's been linked with a move away. This man would be collaterally unserious in a country like Brazil. I don't know if we can allow that to happen. Talking of unserious, and in Turkey, one assistant referee was allegedly hit with a kid's bicycle whilst running down the touchline. Now look, I'm not gonna advocate for throwing anything from the stands, alright? I'm not gonna advocate for harming officials, but getting slapped down with the Fisher-Price Toys R Us 310 is absolutely wild. No such problems for Serdar Dursun, who's on the score sheet in Turkey and hit the Su celebration, and the stadium actually went along with it. Meanwhile, in Belgium and at Anderlecht, they called for supporters and staff members to clear the snow before their most recent cup game. Now, closer to home, and I would like some serious police action taken on Wickham, as when they get to the 67th minute at their stadium, they put a 6-7 graphic up on the big TV screen. I need an investigation into what on earth happened from this penalty at Rochdale versus Scunthorpe. Rochdale ready to step up and take a pen, only for the taker to just abandon it halfway through the run. Now, in the rules of the game, that means that it's a free kick to the opponent, and that's what the referee exercised here. A real wasted opportunity. Well, Hernan Crespo was reflecting on his time back at Chelsea, calling this trio a beautiful threesome. At York, and there was some excitable fans, limbs you could argue, or one limb in the case of whoever this child is that's been upside down. In Austria, Sturm Graz having a very weird season. You see, they are attempting to complete Tottenham Hotspur Simulator. The reigning Austrian champions are bottom of the home table. They do not perform well in their own ground, though contrary to Tottenham's season, they are top of the away table. Surely this has got to be one of the first times this has ever happened. In Uruguay, and shout out to Fernando Camado, who's on the ball here, and manages to evade the attention of a couple of defenders with a beautiful nutmeg. In Ghana here, and a player by the name of Mohamed Kamara has been left behind by the coach. Not the manager, the entire team buzz, so I'm guessing he's not attending the game. Leighton Town marked Valentine's Day with a player whose initials were BJ scoring. Very fitting indeed. In Guadalajara, and we've got maybe the worst trim that I've ever seen in my existence, certainly the worst attempt at a mullet. There is at least some good football going on in Brazil though. Again, some insane skill. We are seeing some beautiful dribbling today. That mental back heel flick to go around one defender, a little bit more dribbling, and then it ends in an assist as well. If that goal scorer even dares to celebrate away from the creator of this goal, then I will slide tackle him myself. Meanwhile, Cabal here was maybe doing a little bit too much slide tackling. He was subbed on. Their opponents decided that was the moment to conduct a comeback, and he also picked up 2 yellow cards in about 15 minutes for his troubles. Now, though, time for Still 0-0. You guys know the score by now. It's in a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. And Sunday League isn't just for, like, old Donny. This isn't just a get-together for the lads after a 17-pint night out on a Saturday beforehand. We also got the young bucks of the footballing community testing their skills out on these pitches as well. And this goalkeeper may well have a bright future, because this save right here is one that you will tell all of your relatives about till the end of time. On to the weird stuff, though, now. Over in Sweden, and Östersunds fans are feeling emotional. They're clearly missing a player who was a big hero for them in the form of Curtis Edwards, a man who plays for Gateshead right now. They are missing him so much that the fans have launched a crowdfunder to re-sign him through just the fans' money alone. They need 200,000 SEK. I think it's Swedish krona, isn't it? And Curtis will be back in Sweden. And finally, at #United, we have got a real big feat here. Their women's side have had a great season so far. Okay, they're doing really well in domestic cups. In fact, they've made it to the final of the BBC Essex Women's Cup, where they'll be facing against Hashtag United too. Yet they've had such an outstanding season in Essex that their A team has made the final and their B team has made the final as well. I think this is a pretty safe bet, really, when it comes to who's going to come out on top. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Sorry this episode's been a little bit shorter. Truthfully, outside of two big, stories or things going on, hasn't really just been much going on in football this week. We'll be back with another episode pushing 30 minutes next time. You can also follow me on social media. It is at officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.